Sunny Days presents The People's Parade, the story of puppets portraying the mingling and migration of the animals and peoples of southeastern Arkansas. All our ancestors migrated so far, some brought us inside them to southeast Arkansas. Some followed the big game, some were looking for gold, some buying this land, some just doing as they was told. All our tomorrows depend on today. Our future is built on what we do and say, what we do with each other, what we say to ourselves. This is the promise our way of life tells. Some of us came pioneers on our own, and we chose Drew County to make this our home. And all of our children will come to decide to stay in Drew County or take the long ride. All our tomorrows depend on today. Our future is built on what we do and say, what we do with each other, what we say to ourselves. This is the promise our way of life tells. This is the promise.
The whole idea for this project came about after seeing a video of this incredible theater company. It's a puppet mask making sort of community-based organization out of Minneapolis, St. Paul. And they had a video that a friend of mine had brought over that she had just gotten in the mail, she'd ordered, and she was actually from Minneapolis. And we plugged it in the TV, and I just flipped out and thought, oh my God, this is what we need to do for Rough and Ready Days, which is, you know, our little annual festival here in Monticello. And so it was from seeing that and realizing that, oh, how great we could do a parade that wasn't just a parade, it was actually a performance, and it told a story.
We're going to tell a story. Well, we need the characters. And the first character, the oldest character, is the water in these parts. About 1 million years ago, this place was covered. The Boys and Girls Club of Drew County became the water and the creatures, the fish, the alligators, the turtles, the birds. Then the Native Americans appeared. Did they migrate here? Did they evolve here? We don't know. But we know the Scouts became our Tunica tribe, along with some elementary students from City Park. Anita Mims worked with those children who became our tattooed Tunicans. The first European to appear was Hernando de Soto, who came through with his conquistadors and war dogs and horses and hogs. The 4-H became our conquistadors and these creatures. 500 years passed and then other Europeans came. We used Peter Reeves, the first surveyor, and Hannah Hyatt, the woman who started the first orphanage in Arkansas, right here in Drew County. The Scouts became their entourage. They became the domestic animals, the horses and the mules. We had riverboats, locomotives, and also the African Americans came in. Wiley Trotter, a black veterinarian, became one of our giant puppets, and Sadie Johnson, a black educator, became the other featured character for our African Americans. The YPTA, the Young People Thinking Ahead group, became our African Americans, as well as the armadillo migrated in at this point, and our last real migrant in were the fire ants. So we had all of these walks of life, all of these ways to walk. And our disabled adults in the community from the other way reenacted the Center Point tornado, which was the biggest tragedy that Drew County has ever seen. And we had a finale at the end when the trees from the Native Americans, the Europeans, and the African Americans all came together to unite to form what this community is today. We had Mary Ramsey's dancers who bound the trees together in a maypole sort of celebration. And the music was provided by our tree binding troubadours, which were musicians from Monticello Junior High, who played as all three trees came together at the end in the finale of the parade and the performance. Okay, this class started in January, and we started researching this thing. We had sort of the general vision of there were going to be these historical characters, they were going to be large puppets. And so we started looking at who are these large puppets going to be. And we found the Drew County Historical Journal to be a great source. The people that we used in this were stories had been written about them and already published. And so that was our main source. We did a few interviews with people to get some more material, but mostly we used what other historians had used. But then we made it more storytelling, but all the facts in the story being based on things that had already been authenticated. And so we didn't have to worry about that too much. The word went out to Monticello and Drew County. Students from UAM contacted the civic groups to raise money or help with the People's Parade and performance. We also contacted the local youth groups, the Scouts, the YPTA, the Boys and Girls Club, to be in the parade and create the costumes and characters. We asked for a hand and we got it.
Coca-Cola donated to us a wonderful warehouse space that we turned into the People's Parade Puppet Shop, and we moved in and were able to conduct free workshops there to the public, and all of these youth groups came to us to work in this space. We spruced it up with banners that we had created last year for Rough and Ready that the Other Way clients designed and Chandi sewed up. This is Rough and Ready Days, the People's Parade puppet workshop beginning, and we are advertising. Mars is up there doing it. Lee is the most important person of all at this moment, and we're just going to have so much fun, and we're not going to die for art.
There you go, cat.
And we brought life to the warehouse, starting with putting up the storyboard that told the story of the parade and helped everyone know where they were going to be and what they were going to do. And then the recyclables started coming in. And we got everything from sheets and foam and styrofoam and jugs and cans and cardboard and all kinds of wonderful things that we were then transforming into our costumes, into the small masks, and then into the much larger masks that became the puppets, which were primarily made of the boxes that we got from the industries in the area. And they were made with cardboard, foam, duct tape, staples, and it was great.
For my whole life.
You say you've never paper mache?
I'm in an airplane about the fourth grade.
You've never paper mache, Art?
Yeah.
Friday night was Make Art Not Trouble night, and that was a really cool night where we opened the doors to the general public to come in and help get work done that was absolutely impossible to do during the week because of all the wildness with the millions of kids running around working on their things. So the big mask that I had created, you know, just with the cardboard and the duct tape and the staples and stuff, all needed to be paper mache'd. And so it was on these Friday nights that adults primarily came in. And primarily our adults were from the Creative Society, which is this wonderful group from the University of Arkansas at Monticello. And it's a campus organization that promotes creativity. And Mars is the original faculty advisor for that group, and they were really crucial for coming in to helping to tie the loose ends together and get those masks paper mache'd. And the other way were also very important components to these big masks too, because they did a lot of work with me on the structure in the back, and they were great. When we were finally done with all the paper mache goo, the pieces were brought home to Rising Oaks, our studio and the home of Art Ventures International, and there I painted them with my little homemade spray rigger because I wanted to keep the weight down. I was very concerned that if I allowed the kids to do it, they would get so heavy. I mean, they could be 5 pounds of paint on there. So they were painted with wonderful paint, mismixed paint that businesses within our community had donated.
Doing the hand jive on TV. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive. Doing that crazy hand jive. Hey, hey, hey.
We found the plastic pipe at the Drew County dump, and we ended up using it for several different purposes. One was to support the hands when they are up in the air, and the other is for the shoulder piece, which fits on the 2x4 that holds the giant head for the puppet. And the shoulder piece is crucial because it also holds the costume in place. The costumes were primarily made out of donated sheets, which were mostly all white. And in this case, we decorated sheets with handprints. This will become the dress of Sadie Johnson, who was a school teacher. And so we decorated the sheets. Most of the children who were involved in this project had their handprints on one of these sheets, which were to become the finished costume for Sadie.
Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. No, the skies are not cloudy all day.